Our region's business is sponsored by PNC for the achiever in you.
We're back at the Carnegie Library in Squirrel Hill. And have you ever noticed how some people are just in love with certain products? Look at the guy behind me. He's like most Apple computer users. He just loves that machine. And though there are free computers available at every Carnegie Library, he takes up bring your own device stands. And he's not the only Mac user who's brought their own computer. On the surface, such brand loyalty might not seem logical, but to our next two authors, it makes perfect sense. Jonathan Cagen and Peter Boatwright are here to explain that some products are just built to love.
Companies don't know how to captivate the marketplace. They can create quality, high-performance products because they have processes for that, but they don't have processes for engaging the marketplace. And that's one of the points of our book, is to introduce such a process.
Okay, and how did you begin to take a look at this space?
Well, in part, we've been working in the field of innovation for numerous years, both inside classrooms on campus and also inside companies, guiding them through projects. So we've been studying processes and developing methods and tools to enable companies to bring out products and services that really meet needs and meet the desires of the marketplace. In working with companies, one of the things we found is that you often gravitate towards things you can measure, and measuring quality is something firms have done well, measuring technology performance. But measuring these soft side of things, measuring this emotional connection, is something that firms have had difficulties with. So that's where we began to study it, to know, sure enough, it does pay off, but also to give them some tools and metrics that they could use to move forward and to bring this out in their products.
I want to come back to the tools and metrics in a moment, but I mean, is there evidence that the companies that can deliver a more emotional or captivating product actually do outperform the companies that haven't got this figured out?
Absolutely. Actually, in one part of our book, we ran as a study where we identified companies that consumers identified as high emotion companies. And then we tracked that set of companies over a period of time like an index. And it outperformed all of the standard indices, the Dow, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, over a 10-year period by over 10 times in terms of performance. But most interestingly is even through the down economy, as we looked forward, it still outperformed those standard indices. Everything crashed after Lehman Brothers, but these high emotion firms, even at a time where people might think that they're not going to spend money on emotion, those are the firms that had the strongest consistent growth through that down period.
So we talked about Apple. Give me a for instance. What are some other high emotion companies, and in particular those who you might not automatically think would be highly emotional in terms of the way people relate to them?
Sure, because you know, often people think about high fashion or consumer products when they're thinking high emotion. And we should clarify that when we're talking about emotion, we're talking about the feelings that people get from actually using the products and services, rather than maybe a claim from advertisement that says how you should feel and trying to get you to feel that way. So what kinds of emotions might people get from a product you wouldn't anticipate? Well, the product that we lead off the book with is a long-haul truck, you know, a semi-truck, an 18-wheeler. And truckers, you know, many are small businessmen. They own their own truck or even a small fleet. And yet society still doesn't often think of truckers at the same level of respect that you would a small businessman or an entrepreneur. So this particular truck, Lone Star from Navistar Corporation, they brought out a truck and designed it specifically to give this sense of respect and professionalism and dignity to truckers, and it really has resonated quite well with that market. The first half of the book is to give illustration of, sure enough, it does pay off and it's achievable, but then it's about how. It's about how would you teach your employees to give them the methods and tools to go understand what customers are looking for and then to translate that into the portfolio of products that you already have.
Wow. Well, it's really cool. Obviously, you can find all the tricks of the trade and tips inside the book itself. Jonathan Cagen and Peter Boatwright from Carnegie Mellon. The book is Built to Love. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having us, Bill.
When we return, we'll meet an author for whom fun and games are meat and potatoes. Don't go away.